Well, Wally, think it was worth it?
Not half, but I wish I hadn't bought this new suit.
For 25 years, Professor Nicholas Pevsner toured the English counties, compiling a meticulous guide to every building of interest from Stonehenge to Centrepoint. Now 6 contemporary travellers choose their favourite counties, with Pevsner's buildings as their guide.
This is my kind of Derbyshire. Wild and high, exposed to the elements, tough and strong, the backbone of England.
Travels with Pevsner starts tonight at 6:10 on BBC Two.
Inside the White House, the real front line, the press versus the spin doctors.
My God, is this what our debate about the presidency has come to?
Press power and responsibility.
We're the only ones that can hold the president's feet to the fire, make him answer the question.
Exclusive to Correspondent, tonight 7:15 BBC Two.
An hour of news and sport now on BBC Two with Sarah Montague and David Robertson.
Okay, and then there's... Good morning and welcome to Weekend 24, an hour of news, sport and features brought to you from the BBC News 24 studios. I'm Sarah Montague. In a moment, a summary of all the morning's news. First, though, let's take a look at what's to come later in the programme. We'll be trawling through tabloid and broadsheet in our regular look at the morning's newspapers. Here to scan the headlines with us will be Michael White, the political editor of The Guardian, and writer and columnist Lauren Booth. Then we'll be looking at the shortlisted candidates for this year's Turner Prize, which, as ever, is arousing the passions. After cows in formaldehyde, this year it's elephant dung. And it's 19 years since Ferrari, the most famous name in motor racing, last won the Formula One World Championship. Can Michael Schumacher follow in Jody Scheckter's footsteps? Jody tells us how he thinks tomorrow's showdown will go. First, let's get to the morning's news from David Robertson.
Thanks, Sarah. Good morning. More flooding is expected in parts of England and Wales after another night of heavy rain. 40 flood warnings are in force, and police say more homes may have to be evacuated. Forecasters are predicting up to 5 centimetres of rain in some areas. The stormy weather is likely to last well into next week.
More misery for people living in the flooded areas of Hereford, Worcester and Shropshire. This is the second weekend in succession that heavy rain has caused flooding. And last night, yet more rain caused yet more misery. Some families were evacuated from their homes as water levels rose. Others took to the streets and watched. This morning, more than 40 flood warnings remain in force in southwest England, Wales and the West Midlands, and more heavy rain is on its way.
Some very wet weather to come today. We're going to see some persistent and heavy rain across many parts of southern Britain. Wales, the Midlands, the southwest, in fact many parts of central and southern England are going to see some persistent rain. It'll be on and off for much of today, and it will occasionally be quite heavy, especially over the hills in the west. So we could see another 10 to 20 millimetres in many parts of southern Britain, and perhaps an inch or more even over the hills of Wales and the southwest.
The Severn Valley between Shrewsbury and Gloucester is expected to be the most seriously affected by the rain, and emergency services in the area are preparing to be at full stretch this weekend. Sightseers are adding to the problem, and the Environment Agency is appealing to those who want to get a closer look at the rising river levels to keep away. Sean Brown, BBC News.
A man's due to appear in court in London later today, charged with robbing the former Welsh Secretary, Ron Davies. It follows an incident on Clapham Common which led to the MP's resignation from the Cabinet. He's also stepped down from the race to lead the new Welsh Assembly, leaving party members with the task of finding a new candidate.
The former Secretary of State for Wales, Ron Davies, last night received the unanimous backing of his local Labour Party. About the only piece of good news the 52-year-old Caerphilly MP has received in a week which saw him resign from the Cabinet and stand down as Labour's prospective leader in the new Welsh Assembly. Yesterday, Mr Davies emerged from hiding to explain why he resigned after befriending a stranger on Clapham Common on Monday night, denying any sexual motive to the encounter. A distraught Mr Davies says he intends to remain in politics, but meanwhile the Wales Labour Party must now begin the difficult task of finding a replacement to lead them into next year's Assembly elections. With no clear favourite emerging, the Labour Party in Wales is rudderless, and while it struggles over how to appoint a new leader, the other main parties in Wales are confident of clawing back Labour's lead in the polls before next May's Assembly elections. Willow Davis, BBC News, Cardiff.
More than 130 people are now thought to have been killed as tropical storm Mitch continues to sweep across Central America. 72 of the victims are reported to have died in Honduras, and a state of emergency has been declared in neighbouring Nicaragua. It's one of the worst Atlantic hurricanes to hit the region this century.
First it was George, now it's Mitch, the second hurricane to hit the region in a month. Mitch has been downgraded to a tropical storm, but not before causing widespread devastation to Honduras and now Nicaragua. In 5 days it's brought winds over 120 miles an hour and severe downpours, turning roads into rivers. An estimated 7,000 homes have been destroyed, and 500,000 people have packed up what little belongings they can carry and sought refuge in shelters. An army helicopter had to be brought in to rescue people stranded on a road. Although the high winds have died down, it's the rain that's causing most concern. Mudslides are washing away almost everything in their way. Hurricane forecasters in Miami say Mitch will continue to dump several inches more rain on Saturday before possibly moving on to Mexico. But the real fear is that Mitch could move back out to sea, picking up some of its former strength and moving towards land once more. Charles Amponsa, BBC News.
The Prime Minister has been called on to help break the stalemate in the Northern Ireland.